everybody. Welcome back to K&S. I am K, Kristy.
And I am S, Shawn.
And we're doing something a little different this weekend. Something we've never done before.
What's that?
We are doing back-to-back podcasts.
BDB.
Yeah, let's talk about it. And this could be the first time ever, if we do one tomorrow night,
that we do the trifecta?
We do the trifecta. We do triple back-to-back. It's never been done before, people.
Well, not in this house.
Not in this house. Evil Knievel has never attempted anything of this magnitude. But we did one last night.
We're doing one tonight.
One tonight, Cherry 2000.
Cherry 2000.
And tomorrow, which we may or may not do depending on our stamina, but we can't tell you what that is yet.
We'll get
the
to
end
it.
of this episode.
We will get to it.
Anyway, we are back. Didn't we just leave you? I feel like we just left you people.
Well, it feels like it for us, but
yes.
It won't for them because
yes.
they're gonna get these weeks apart. So.
I know, but it feels like a lot. There's some Red Bull flowing in this house right now. Anyway, we are back. We are here with Shawn's pick this lovely evening.
Yes.
And it is the incomparable Cherry 2000. And if you listen to our last podcast, Presumed Innocent, you know that we already introduced this, and you already know the backstory. It's Shawn's favorite goddamn movie.
Absolutely.
And we've been together 9 years, and I've never seen it. So we did so tonight. So
Kristy's Cherry 2000 Cherry is popped.
And I don't know what to say other than that. I didn't take as many notes as I normally did on this one. That could be for many reasons that I was actually enjoying it. I'm also a little tired tonight. So, forgive me if I sound a little tired. I was a little bit last night as well with Presumed Innocent. But it's a 3-day weekend, and I'm just excited about that. And I just wanted to do a bunch of movies and talk about them. So here we are. Gotta say, right out the chute, I want to say it's what I expected. But we don't need to go into why you... Normally we ask why you picked the movie. But we already know it's your favorite movie. So
it is my favorite.
And we did, if you listen to our last podcast, you'll know why he picked it. So it goes without saying.
And this is not my Shawn McLaughlin's choice as like greatest movie of all time. It is my favorite movie of all time.
Oh.
So there's
what's the greatest movie of all time?
In my opinion,
your opinion,
greatest movie of all time is Blade Runner.
Wow.
But, and then there's close seconds.
I thought you were going to say The Lake House or something.
No, Lake House is very, very down that list.
Because, we would have had a problem.
No, I mean, it's, stuff like Blade Runner is up there, very much up there.
Interesting.
Then there's other stuff that I think are just fantastic movies, like Mulholland Drive, which I think is brilliant. And, lots of other movies.
You got me thinking. I don't know what the greatest of all time is for me. I mean, that's interesting. I don't know. I'd probably lean towards like a Scarface or a Godfather or something like that. Yeah. But I don't know. That's too much pressure right now.
Do you know what's your favorite of all time? Or is that...
A favorite of all time?
I mean, because again, that's two different things.
Well, no, I mean, I'm a nerd, whereas I would say Grease is one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's fair.
But then I go the other side with, Rocky.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's a couple of contenders.
Things change, yes.
Things change.
For sure.
But I mean, it depends on what genre we're talking about, but... Yeah, and that's too much on the spot tonight.
Yeah,
I haven't had enough Red Bulls.
I didn't mean to throw that pressure on you.
Jesus,
I already threw Cherry 2000 at you.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, not gonna lie, I do want to say something because I said it right when it ended. This, same director as that did Miracle Mile.
Steve DeJarnette.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like when you say his name. I feel like I butcher it. DeJarnette.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if I'm necessarily pronouncing it right.
Why don't you listen to this and then have him tell you if you butchered?
Let's see what you end up saying.
No. I like this. I like this dude. I don't know him. I know you're friends with him. I don't think that's why you're a fan of Cherry 2000 and
no.
Miracle Man.
I have been obsessed with this movie since I was like 8 years old. Like when I first saw it.
Oh wow.
There's a reason why
it's 1987, so you were 6.
Yeah, I probably saw it in. Well, no, but I didn't see it in theaters. I mean, nobody saw it in theaters. But
I also don't think you saw this when you were 6.
No, I saw this probably when I was like 8, maybe 9.
Okay. Did your mom take you?
No. This got very limited theatrical
I'm sorry,
release.
you didn't see it in the theater, so
yeah.
Okay.
I've never to this day seen it in a theater. It's a big regret. Every once in a while.
Would they play it, do you think?
Alamo has played it, not here in Phoenix. Okay. I mean, there's no Alamo anymore here anyway, but the Alamo, like the Texas Alamo has played it like on 35 too.
Right.
Which I would, kill to go see. Like I would literally drive to Texas to see this in 35 millimeter.
If you rent it out a said theater, like, when we rented out when Harry Met
Well,
Sally.
yeah, we could do that.
No, but I'm saying, is it gettable? You know what I'm saying?
I've seen it.
Because remember, they gave us a list of these are things you just can't get.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just curious if that would be one of them.
I'm sure you can get it. Like I said, I've seen it run theatrically, just not
Was this
here.
Orion?
This was Orion. It's MGM.
Okay. Yeah. That's right.
I don't know who owns it now because the Blu-ray is distributed by Kino.
Okay. Which is what we watched.
We watched the Blu-ray. Yeah.
You said we have a digital.
Yeah, we have a digital.
But you preferred to watch it on Blu-ray. You said, because you're a snob.
I'm a snob.
Basically.
I'm a snob.
You're a Kino snob.
It's not in 4K
right.
digitally, so there's no real benefit to watching it digitally versus Blu-ray. And if the internet goes out or something, it's not going to affect my Blu-ray.
No, and because I didn't write this down.
And our internet goes out all the goddamn time.
Yeah, this is true.
So
now I take notes and stuff, but I didn't write this down, but I want to make sure I said it then so I don't forget. Now I don't feel as bad. I said at the end of Presumed Innocent podcast when we were introducing this one next.
Mm-hmm.
I said I kind of feel like an idiot. I've walked by this life-size framed poster in our hallway for so long now, and then literally one day, not here but at the old house, I said, "Who is this?" And you're like, "It's Melanie Griffith." Remember? And I said, and I freaked out. Now I stand by it, looking at the poster before the movie and after the movie.
Yeah, because the menu was just the poster. It does not look
like her.
And it's not.
Okay, but now,
it doesn't look like her.
Now I don't feel so bad that I didn't know that it was not, that it was her on the thing.
It's not Deborah Foreman on your Valley Girl poster either. I mean,
it's not, and that still irritates a lot of people.
This is just a painted likeness of Melanie Griffith, and there's a couple things that does.
But look at The Outsiders. It looks like all of them, and to me that's a painted likeness.
Well, that's Drew Struzan. You don't get better than
that's true.
I mean, you really don't.
Anyway, I'm not saying it doesn't look. I'm not saying it doesn't look like her, not at all. But like we said, her arms look buffer.
Between as buff as she is, because she has
more busty
and kind of like glossy. Like because of the sweatiness.
But her face, the red hair.
Yeah, the red hair's a wig, obviously.
I know, but face just doesn't look like her.
No, it really doesn't. It's the one flaw in an otherwise perfect poster.
Anyway,
I
just wanted that noted. Because I was actually feeling really bad. Like for 5 years, I didn't know that was goddamn her on the poster, and now I don't feel so bad.
No, you should not.
And
feel
looking
so bad.
at it more.
Now that's the foreign poster, though.
Oh,
that's the German and Italian poster. They used it here, yeah.
No, but we even looked at it before and after the movie from the Blu-ray.
But the theatrical poster, the U.S. poster,
looks more like her.
No, it's what the DVD or the Blu-ray cover is.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it's much more of a American style poster, and it's a photo of of her in it, so it's more recognizable as her.
This was also dubbed, sci-fi action. If we got to go there, what genre it's in?
It's every genre is what it is.
I'm just saying, but I'm saying when you look it up on the Google.
Yeah, on the Google.
It says on the internets. It says sci-fi action. So, which I guess is depicted.
It is
pretty fair here. I would say pretty true to form. I also said when this ended, I don't know if it's because it's Steve
Stage or not.
And same, he directed Miracle Mile as well.
Yes, a few years later.
I told you when we watched Miracle Mile that first time.
Mm-hmm.
This is so hard to explain. You understand it now because you've been with me for a long time.
Yeah.
But I don't think our listeners will. When you watch a movie and you feel that sense of, I always call it like that homesick, feeling like growing up in Illinois when I used to go and spend the night at a friend's house,
mm-hmm.
and I would just feel homesick, like I was in a different place. I missed my house, my bed, my family. It's hard to explain, but it was a terrible feeling. Okay, like. Does this make sense? You're kind of smiling at me, but maybe it's a Kristy weird thing, but I felt that similar feeling when I watched Miracle Mile, okay? For some reason I had that same weird feeling tonight, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I know Steve directed both movies. Do they, are they similar?
I don't know that
what I mean?
I would say that the movies are similar, but it's like one of those things that directors in general carry themselves on the screen. So there's themes that run through both movies even though they're not related.
Yeah.
It's just like you can tell a David Lynch movie by watching it. It doesn't matter what movie it is or how many years made apart they are. You can walk into a room, watch 10 minutes of a David Lynch movie, and know it's a David Lynch movie.
Yeah, I guess so.
So maybe there's a little bit of a vibe that you picked up on both movies.
Maybe.
I
can't explain the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the second time I was in a bad place when I watched Miracle Mile the first time. That was a bad weekend. For both of us, as you remember. And then when I watched it a second time and I revisited it, I had a much better experience with it. But I mean, it was still that ending just like crushed me, and you as well because
much like this movie, it's all over the place thematically because it feels it's very action heavy at certain parts. It's very comedic and very satirical at other parts.
Yeah.
And then the story that it tells. Yeah. I mean, it's almost. Cherry 2000 came out several years before Miracle Mile.
Okay.
But you could almost make a case that one's almost like a sequel to the other.
Right.
Because Miracle Mile is pre-apocalyptic and Cherry 2000 is post-apocalyptic in a way. It's just they came out in a reverse order.
Yeah.
In that way.
But I think it's anyway, I can't explain that feeling and I only told that story just because it's trying to pinpoint that feeling,
mm-hmm.
and that's the only way I know how to do it, and I can't explain it, but it's not a good feeling, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I didn't like the movie.
Right.
It was just fascinating to me that how I felt that same feeling with both movies, if that makes sense.
What's funny for me in that regard is that I came into Miracle Mile much later in life because it was a more difficult movie to get, I guess, like to actually obtain and watch.
Sure,
get a hold of.
It's hard to watch,
it's hard to watch. But I watched Miracle Mile as an adult, and I watched Cherry 2000 as a young kid, and I grew up rewatching it at every stage of my life. So Cherry 2000 as a movie feels like home to me. Like I don't get homesick with it.
No.
Like it is absolute comfort food.
Oh, I get it. No, and I know the movies that make you feel like home.
Yeah. There's like a dozen movies that are like.
I know, and I have many in my life the same way. I guess. Okay, so not to misconstrue that, because I love that you said that. There's many. In fact, in some of my Letterboxd reviews I've wrote, I love this movie. It feels like coming home. Yeah. So I love that you said that. Don't take me wrong when I said I feel that homesick feeling. That's a bad thing about this movie. That's not what I mean.
Sure.
I can't explain it. It's almost like it's like an eerie feeling, but not. It doesn't mean I don't like the movie. I know I'm totally probably making this sound confusing, but I just...
Well, I mean, talking more about Miracle Mile, where you're pulling that from initially, it's an eerie movie.
Yeah, maybe. And
so,
I can tell you I felt more of the homesickness in quotes here with Miracle Mile than I did with this. Mm-hmm. You know what it is for me. I think it was the fucking mule at the end. I know that's what it is.
Talk about it.
Like,
let it out of your system.
No, I feel like I wasn't there with that homesickness feeling, whatever we're gonna call it, and then the fucking mule. You know, sorry to spoil it if you haven't seen Cherry 2000, folks, but there's 2 mules in this. No animals were harmed in this or whatever. There were 2 mules. One of them in the, when they were being chased by Lester, the bad guy.
Right.
Lester or his guys shot one of the mules in the heart, which we didn't see.
Off camera, completely.
No, we never saw. Like, 2 mules went on the mission, 1 came back.
Right.
So we didn't see any of this, sad, but you know what I mean. If you're an animal lover like myself, it's sad. But like nothing was shown. But then at the end, and I'm just jumping right to it. I don't care.
Yeah, no, it's
when they fly off in the plane into the sunset, so to speak.
Right.
And that last mule is just there down there grazing on whatever he's grazing on. But he still has the pack that they all had their knapsacks and everything on him, and he's just by himself down there without his mule buddy. And just, like, no people around at all. I don't know. I don't know why that's wrong with me. And I literally turned to you when the music started and just said, I don't like the ending. And I think you took it as I didn't like the movie.
No, I didn't take it at all.
But I was like,
okay.
I didn't like we're supposed to be happy they flew off into the sunset. And I'm like, well, what about the fucking mule? Like, he doesn't have his buddy now, and now he's just down there, and there's, like, no one taking care. I know it sounds stupid, but, like, can we get Steve DeJohnette on the phone so I can ask him this?
I don't think he wants us to call him.
Well, I'm just saying, next time you talk to him, because I know you talk to him and your Facebook friends, why don't you ask him what happened to the mule?
I mean...
Because I'd like to know.
I'll private message him and find out what happened.
Say my wife liked the movie, but it's the shit that bothers me and that I think about. So I don't know, that was like just weird to me. But it could just be my mood.
To me, I always get stuck with the cat in the water bottle in the glory hole. Because it's just such a weird abstract thing to even have, and the clerk that he checks in with, like she's feeding the cat through the top of the thing, which I just think is hilarious.
Well, what was Jake Six Finger
Jake?
Six Finger Jake,
the great late Ben Johnson.
Yes, he was the owner of said 2 mules, okay?
Yeah.
Took care of them in his little place down there with all the toaster oven boxes.
And a dope jukebox.
No, and and he had a jukebox out of fucking nowhere. But he took care of the said mules. That's why when his other mule got shot in the heart, remember, he's basically, I'm going to blow this place up. Because they were the guys that, like, shot his mule.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Well, and... the cherry chip was on that mule.
Exactly.
And so that's, he was just totally over the edge, Sam, at that point.
No, exactly. Right. So that's why they did that. And then, another spoiler, when we get to the old man's last chance brothel and gas, okay, this place in the middle of fucking nowhere, him and his girlfriend shoot Jake in the back or the head or whatever, and so he dies. So now, okay, the mule's by himself now. So is the mule? You know what I mean? I know this sounds stupid, but yes, I care about the animals sometimes more than the people. It wasn't explained then. What happens to the mule?
We don't know what happens to the mule.
And you're smiling at this, but you even said when I said it at the end of the movie, you said, I never thought about the mule.
I have seen this movie over 70 times in my lifetime.
And you never thought about the mule.
And I always thought that mule is in a happy place right there at the end. He's grazing. Right. He's fine. He's not left in the underwater cave.
Yeah, but he doesn't have Jake or his other mule buddy.
It is sad that we don't have Jake or the other mule.
Okay.
But
he doesn't have
this
his dad
mule
or his buddy.
seems gonna he's gonna be alright.
I can't believe you just never thought of this after.
I think Elaine is gonna come by with Cherry, at the end of this movie.
Maybe.
And the surviving people that didn't want to, weren't murderous
of
Sky Ranch, and they're gonna take that mule and they're gonna feed it sandwiches and Pepsi.
Okay. That actually makes me feel a little bit better.
That's how I read it.
Okay, that's how you read it. All right. Yeah, I'm focusing on the mule, but it's like before we watch any movie, you have to look on the website, doesthedogguy.com to see what happens, and I just
no animals were harmed during the making of this movie, Chris.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it up on the mules. It just
not an Italian cannibal movie. You don't need to worry about it. Everything, all the animals are fine in this movie.
Now, this had a $10 million budget, and
seems a lot.
I'm going on the Wikipedia.
I know,
because we got to throw out some facts.
Sure.
Here. Box office $14,000.
Yes.
This is a quite substantial difference. Now, I'm only bringing it up. I'm not saying anything about the movie. I'm just bringing it up because I'm just throwing some facts out. 2.9 overall Letterboxd.
Well, first of all, let's talk about that box office.
Okay.
There's a reason it was that low. Didn't come out.
That's true. You already said that.
The movie was supposed to come out in 1985. Orion Studios went bankrupt.
Okay.
It wasn't until 87 when I think MGM bought Orion, and then they got an extra financial windfall because they released RoboCop that year.
Okay.
Which was an Orion movie, and of course RoboCop made a shit ton of money. And for the most of the country, Cherry 2000 went direct to video. So it wasn't screened enough to make any money. So, but it was I have a hard time calling it a box office flop.
No,
when it just didn't get screened at all.
By the way, I did not say flop.
No,
all.
I know. I'm just saying.
I was saying.
Anybody else just looking at those numbers are going to say like, "Whoa, this is Pluto Nash bad," or
No. Okay, as an example, 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, but 21 reviews.
Right.
You know what I mean? Critics' reviews. That's why I can't. Also, I hate Rotten Tomatoes. It's not a good gauge. You know my love of Footloose, and I think Shut up. It's Kevin Bacon, goddammit, and it's brilliant. Back me up.
Well, if Rotten Tomatoes averaged every time I rated Cherry 2000, it would be a 98%.
No, okay, well, as an example,
score.
Footloose, 52% Rotten Tomatoes. Come on. There's been some movies that have gotten shitty, reviews from Rotten Tomatoes that we just love. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
In fact, I think we've had this discussion with our buddies Brett and Kyle before, right? And we've said, at least I've said several times, oh, I'm sorry, does it have 25% Rotten Tomatoes? I'm probably going to like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the lower you go, maybe the better it has a chance that Kristy's going to like it.
I've seen
that doesn't scare me away.
Professional critics angry at Rotten Tomatoes because Rotten Tomatoes as an organization or as a company has used their review, and they would actually say that they gave said movie a negative review when they didn't.
Really?
Because there's multiple ways you can rate a movie, right? There's some people that do like a star rating or a thumbs up, thumbs down, and that's easy to aggregate that information, right? If you give a movie 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. Okay, you're a fresh tomato.
Yeah.
But if you actually
certified fresh. Yeah.
If you actually write an article and you don't score a movie, you're just like, I'm reviewing this movie. Somebody has to actually take the time to read it and then determine what you might think.
No, I get it.
And then use that as a baseline. And sometimes the people who do the work at Rotten Tomatoes just get it wrong. And they have to appeal it, so that it changes, back the way it needs to go.
You could take that one step further with Letterboxd. I started doing this with the movies we watched. I researched their ratings before we do the podcast, just because I find it fascinating to do kind of like the differences, like going to Rotten Tomatoes, which really means nothing to most of us in this.
It's way too.
Look at Dog with Channing Tatum.
It means a lot. It means a lot in the greater world, and to these studios than it means to you and me.
Well, I use Dog with Channing Tatum because some of the critics were weren't as high as, say, the audience. Like,
right.
let's say the critics were like 70% on Dog, and then, which I thought was a great movie and emotional, and not because Channing Tatum is in it. I mean, come on, that's part of it, but and plus dogs. Dog.
Yeah,
but I mean, okay,
checked
so
all the Kristy boxes.
No, it did. It checked all my boxes. But then, like, this was a great example. But then, like, it was like high 90s in the audience score. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all subjective, which is why I bring up the Letterboxd overall rating on Cherry 2000 is 2.9.
Right.
I think what movie we were talking about the other night that we said the overall rating and we're like, that's actually lower than it should be. I can't remember because we've talked about like
I don't know. We've talked
17
about a lot, yeah.
movies the last few days and watched many, not just for the podcast but in general. So you can't always go by the Letterboxd either. I have 3 of my friends on Letterboxd that gave Cherry 2000 4 stars.
Yeah.
One of them gave it 3.
Right.
And then one of them, you said our buddy didn't rate it yet, but you had him all watch this.
He's very.
You said he's a huge fan.
I mean, the funny thing is that this is again, Cherry 2000 is a very underseen film. If you've lived your life not knowing about it or not seeing it, there's nothing wrong with you.
Okay.
I mean, it hasn't been put in front of you. And
the
it should.
2.9 on
well,
Letterboxd,
I mean,
right?
I can't say that because the 2.9 is people who have seen it and rated it. They're just.
But it's an average.
It's an average. Every single person I've shown this movie to, and trust me, I've probably shown this movie to more people than the box office itself.
Are you pimping out this movie?
I pimp out this movie all the time.
You should.
I remind you, if you click on my profile on Letterboxd,
yes,
it's only Cherry 2000 as my favorite movies underneath it.
I get this.
Every single poster.
Is that how you met Steve then?
No.
Oh, you did? Okay.
No, I just reached out to him.
Oh, okay.
It's.
But you're a big fan.
I'm a big fan of this movie.
Yeah.
Big
have
proponent.
A couple of T-shirts.
I have a few T-shirts. I have every poster that I've ever found. I have the U.S. theatrical poster, not the one in the hallway, but the U.S. theatrical poster. It's the very first movie poster I ever bought with my own money.
Okay. Second
was Legend of Billie Jean.
Oh,
but also.
Well, you also have a weird love for Helen Slater, i.e., Legend of Billie Jean, and Hello, Supergirl.
She's been in 2 movies that are those.
What's the other one you love her in? Michael J. Fox.
Oh, Secret of My Success.
Secret of My Success.
I don't love her as much in that movie as I do.
Was that? Oh, yeah, sorry, I get it confused with Bright Lights, Big City, but no, it was.
Yeah, she's not in Bright Lights, Big City.
No, so you have your love of Helen Slater.
I have my love of those 2 movies, and she's a very big part of it.
Do you know how I know you love Cherry 2000? Let me tell you why. Listeners, every single day, at least 17 times a day, because it's in my fucking hallway, I walk by the life-size framed poster of Melanie Griffith.
They know this.
No, but I'm saying this is how I'm reiterating it, babe. Every day I walk by it. It's like...
Autographed by Steve Dejournette.
Exactly. It's bigger than I am. So, it's like...
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
Costs a lot to frame.
Yeah. And by the way, we found the perfect space for it on that wall. Because
it's the only place in this
we
house.
Said, where else... What if we put something else... Where would we move lovely Melanie? There's like nowhere else to put her.
Well, it's a shame because she had the best place in our last house because we had that vaulted area that it was over
right.
that was a great place.
Yeah, I know. I miss that house.
But is what it is.
Loft.
Yeah, that was a really nice loft.
Yeah.
But anyway,
digress. So okay, but anyway,
I pimp this movie out.
You do
to a stupid degree.
Jesus Christ.
Still haven't convinced any theaters around here to show it.
No.
I thought I was going to, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You would leave me for Cherry 2000, I think.
The movie?
Yeah,
no. I have the movie.
No, it's a joke.
Oh, okay.
It's a joke.
I mean, if there was a movie I was going to marry, it would probably be Cherry 2000.
And you would leave me for it. I truly believe that. But you know what? I'm okay with that because I know your love of it.
Because you're like, get out. Take your
I
cherry
can't handle it.
Leave.
I will say, Pamela Gidley, rest in peace.
Yes.
First of all, girl, stop being gorgeous because she's so gorgeous. And you're supposed to be a robot, which, by the way, her character, I want to say, is terrible, but it's not terrible because she's a robot.
She's supposed to be that way.
Okay, so, you want a Pepsi? You know what I mean? Like her little lines. Yeah. I love you. Do you want dessert? You know what I mean? I can't even make fun of her.
Is that your hand?
Is that your hand? Yeah. Come here, baby. Anyway, I will say that the little part that freaked me out, just because I know now, rest in peace, you know, when she no longer was functioning in the beginning.
Oh, when she short circuits?
Short circuit, thank you. I don't know why I was facing that term. And then when he brought her, anyway, she wasn't working, so she was dead, so to speak, and he brought her home, and he still had her laying on the bed.
Yeah.
Which, to me, I turned to you and I said, okay, that's creepy still. Just why? And you said, well, what else are you going to do with her? But it was also weird, you know, how she was laying on the bed, you know, just like laying there, and she doesn't function.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, God bless your girl for not blinking for a really long time. So that was impressive. I know that's camera work, but still, it was impressive. Also, it was a little sad because knowing she was just like laying there and she's not alive anymore.
Right.
So there's that weird dichotomy there.
It's
you know
you know what's more weird than that though is seeing her in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Oh yeah.
Because she's dead in that movie too, and they do the autopsy on her. And what's even more freaky is that it's because obviously she wasn't dead at the time of the movie, but you can actually see her breathing on the table, you know? I mean, because she's trying to be as still as possible, but she can't. It's a really eerie shot, but but you get the close up of her mouth in both movies, you know, because she short circuits and it's like, wow, this is
it's
such
weird.
Interesting parallels that were clearly never intended.
No,
because they're made years apart.
But watching it tonight, knowing, you know, she's no longer with us.
Which is why at least we always have Thrashing.
No, I was literally going to say, you know, she's not dead in Thrashing. And how awesome it is that I don't know if our listeners know when we met Robert Rustler from Thrashing and at Mad Monster last year. And we got to talk to him about Pamela Gidley, and he got a little tear in his eye.
Yeah.
And he was going on and on about it. That was one of the coolest conversations I've ever had. She's just cool. So that was weird to see her in this. But that specific moment with her laying on the bed like that, I was like, ooh. Just weird where time takes us. You know what I mean? Because she's not here anymore. So, and then interesting you said the Twin Peaks thing as well.
Yeah. And, you know, M. Ben Johnson isn't with us anymore either.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
But we're getting old.
Yeah.
And these movies,
we're not getting any younger.
It's like we were saying about Presumed Innocent in last night's podcast, how, you know, Harrison Ford's 80, and then all these other stars that aren't with us anymore. You know, but these movies were like 80s, 90s. It's like, and if we're the age we are, just wow.
Yeah. But
Pamela Gidley in this, awesome. I gotta say, this guy, and you don't deny me for saying this.
Go for it. Say it.
Super cheesy fucking lines in this.
Oh,
like, put on your seatbelt. I hope you're ready for this.
They're great. They're
silly.
They are.
Okay.
But
I wanted to look at you a couple times and go, seriously, babe? But then at the same time, I was like, all right, it's Melanie Griffith. We got her same voice she has and everything, and they're cheesy, but I guess they were fun. I
mean, all these action movies have cheesy lines of dialogue.
But they weren't well done. But they, I mean, they weren't. Like when they're hanging from her car, her Mustang.
Yeah.
And, are you ready for this? And put on your seatbelt.
Put on your seatbelt. Yeah.
And he's like, do you know what you're doing? She's like, I've done this before, but this is easy.
This time, it's never been this easy.
And it's just like...
I love that line. I genuinely love that line.
But then I turned to you and I went, okay, it's kind of cool they're hanging from the car from the...
And all that shit's real.
I know.
That's real stunts.
Well, that wasn't her up there.
Well, no, it was a stunt woman up there. I mean, obviously. But, I mean, there was somebody really hanging from that car. It was a real shot. And
no, I know,
and that's missing from so many movies today.
No, I agree. And so, as cheesy as it was, and then I'm going to give, since I just mentioned the cheese, you also know I love cheese.
I love it.
I love cheese. The kiss with those two. First of all, when he goes to kiss her finally, you notice he's holding her boobs.
Yes.
Like, okay, you know how, like, in movies, they usually go and hold their face?
Right.
Or they hold, like, their shoulders to bring them in? He's literally holding, like, the outside of her boobs. And I was like, okay. But then I was like, okay, that's kind of hot. You know what I mean? And then he kissed her, and I was like, okay, that was kind of hot. It's kind of a hot kiss.
You want to know
and then he starts going...
my working theory on that?
Yeah.
This is what's
Is
funny.
that organic?
This is what's funny about having seen a movie your entire life, right?
Okay.
Because this theory that I've developed, I've really only kind of developed it like in the last 5 times I watched it, like as an adult. My theory is, I mean, it's intentional, obviously, that he's kind of grabbing the side of her boobs.
And it's so
in the
obvious.
movie, and yes, it is weird because you wouldn't normally do that. Any other man wouldn't normally do that. You know, they would grab it or go in for the romantic
But it was before
kiss.
the kiss, so it was like...
Right. And it's not like it was an accident, like they fell on each other or something. Like
exactly.
It's
He's
very
like
clear. They're
massaging
standing up.
her
Right.
breasts.
They're like, but I genuinely think now, watching this movie as an adult, that Sam has never been with a real woman.
Oh. I kind of thought that too, actually.
And this has only been...
He's used to touching a robot.
And I think Elaine is a robot. Elaine is his ex-girlfriend that's now Ginger.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Edith.
No, Edith is... I thought Edith... Her name's E.
No, that's E. Johnson, the tracker. That's Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm talking about the girl that he meets in the encampment that introduces him. This is my ex-boyfriend, or this is my old boyfriend. I think she was another model robot that he had before he got a cherry. Yeah. He upgraded to a cherry from her. And that's why her cadence is so weird and how she obsesses over...
Get it.
It's never explicitly explained.
No.
And it's just something that I only picked up like the last 4 years of my life.
So he went from like a Hyundai to a Tesla. Right?
They're treated as cars in this movie.
Know.
The repairman even said this is when Detroit cared, about products.
That's true.
And even the logo, the Cherry 2000 logo in the movie, when it pops up, it looks like a plate that would be on the back of a car.
Absolutely.
Like
good point on the Detroit thing. Yeah. I forgot about that line. No, but I get it. And by the way, I wasn't offended when he was like kissing her. I was like...
But it also explains why his coworkers, when they try to get him to go to the club, they're like, you know what? It's real women, Sam. It's real women, and he just kind of brushes it off.
Yeah.
I think he has absolutely minimal to zero experience with real women at all, and so he acts like a boy would.
He has no game.
Yeah,
I get it. All I'm saying is like
he has a boy's idea of what romance should be.
And I'm not telling guys what to do, but like some guys could watch this movie and say, next time you go to kiss a girl, try doing that. Like grab her like that.
See how that works out for you.
See how that works out. I mean, if you get smacked, you didn't hear it from me here, okay? But no, anyway, I wasn't offended by it. I just thought it was fascinating.
No, but I think that he looked at it as like a romantic... I could see him doing that with his cherry.
Yeah.
And so he's just applying it in another situation.
I get it. Much like when she said, I'm going to take a nap in the car, be on the lookout. And then she wakes up and he's listening to the tape of her going, oh, yes, move over here. You know what I mean? I feel like that was all almost a tutorial for him. You know what I'm saying? Because he was not used to a real woman, now that you're bringing it in that regards. And, like, she was almost instructing him what to do. Like a tutorial. Cherry. on the tape.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
yes, but also
because he has no game.
It also is just reinforcing any move that he makes as being a good move.
Yeah.
And when
and it's okay.
which is kind of which I mean, if you were applying it into a real world situation, would actually be kind of dangerous.
Yeah,
because this is one of the reasons you have so many people that are like against pornography, against this. It's the lessons that you take away from watching it.
Yeah,
you can't necessarily apply in real life to real people.
No.
And so if you have this robotic woman that's telling you, no matter what you're doing, I love it. It's great.
It's great. Yeah.
And then you try to apply that someplace else. It's
sure.
not going to work for you necessarily.
No, but I do like that what you said about the gal that the ex.
Yeah.
Which I said, did I miss something when she came onto the screen and you go, no, you didn't miss anything. She was his like ex or whatever.
Yeah.
But now I believe she was a robot because of just all the stuff she was saying. And remember, did you want to have a sandwich?
Yeah.
You should have a sandwich
so
before you go out in the heat.
With sandwiches,
Although that
I
made
love
me
it.
laugh because you turned to me and go, you said, that's us when we're like road tripping, because that's something I would say.
Yeah.
I made sandwiches.
Do you want to eat this now?
Do you want to eat? Okay, but I'm not. But I'm clearly not a robot, or mostly I'm not.
No, but how Lester, she's telling everybody how great Lester is.
Yeah.
And then Lester dies, and she has no reaction.
No, she's
just like, well, no sandwich for him.
Yeah. She
goes,
well, he doesn't, no sandwich for him, and then gives one to Pamela Gidley, who opens it and goes, oh, pretty. Which was fantastic. Fantastic. You know who they should have saved a sandwich for is the mule. But that's just me.
Oh, that mule's going to live with all the sandwiches.
I know.
They're going to go back to Sky Ranch, what's left of it.
Yeah, what's left of it. But now that I never put that together that she was probably Edith or Elaine. Sorry,
I didn't. Or Ginger, as she wanted to be called.
Or Ginger.
She
goes, I'm Ginger now.
I didn't put that together the first 65 times I watched this movie.
See?
So I mean, again, that's kind of what I loved of this, is that it's a movie I keep coming back to, and I keep finding more shit interesting.
Also, what I found interesting, Laurence Fishburne, totally underused here. You were in it for 3 minutes when you were trying to be that.
He's the lawyer in the Glue Glue Club.
Yeah, and it was actually driving me nuts because I was staring at him going, oh my God, who is that? And then you saw it on my face that I was trying to figure it out, and you said it. But literally, he was in it for 3 minutes, maybe.
Well, he wasn't a big star yet.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you consider when the movie was made versus when it was released, because I think he was in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 at that point as one of the nurses, that worked in the facility. Yeah. But I don't know that if he was in anything else big yet. I'd have to look that up to be sure. But he wasn't Laurence Fishburne Morpheus as he is today.
Well, no, exactly. And I did find it funny with the cars. First of all, Melanie Griffith and that badass Mustang.
1965 Ford Mustang?
Dude, that's tight. And then I did find it funny because of Lester. He had that really nice, I want to call it one of those Suzukis.
Better hope I don't win the lottery.
No.
Because I am going to get a 65 Mustang and genuinely customize it to look like this.
I believe it. But why did Lester have a fun bread truck? Where did this come from?
They're scavengers.
Yeah.
They're living out in the in the wastes.
It just made me laugh because at first I'm like, is that a candy truck? And then finally that last shot, it says fun bread, which just made me laugh. It made me laugh because they're like these bad guys.
Yeah.
Like these serious bad guys that have a lot of guns and they're shooting at Melanie Griffith and Sam. And then all of a sudden it's like you roll up in your fun bread truck. It just made me giggle.
And everybody's wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, and exactly. It's not cool.
And Lester...
Or badass.
Lester talks to all of his people with positive reinforcement. Be yourself. I want you to be safe out there and be yourself.
But when he sent those two guys off, it also made me laugh when the old guy. Well, it wasn't funny. The old guy at the brothel. The old guy with the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Last Chance brothel and gas. When she shot Jake. Right, Jake that wasn't cool.
No,
but
Randa.
Randa, I think it's Randa. When she came up to Lester and goes, "What's all over your face? Where are we going next? I'll go with you to help, because I know where they're going." And literally...
You need to work on your personality.
No, he literally points a gun, shoots her in the head, which we don't see.
Right.
And goes, "You need to work on your personality." That was fucking fantastic.
Lester's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. And let's not... It's semantics.
By the way, I have used a line that Lester says in regular life very frequently over the years, where I just walk into a room and I'm like, I don't like what I'm feeling. I'm feeling this anger. Yes. And I just love how he delivers that, because
I've seen him before too.
Yeah, that's Tim Thomerson. He's been in a lot of movies.
He's like a character actor.
He's very much a character actor. He's been in a lot of B movies.
I didn't want to look him up, but I was just like, I definitely know who this
just
is.
like Robert Zadar, who you said you saw, who has that very distinctive jawline.
Yes, exactly.
He's been in a lot of B movies.
Also, when this started, I said what's so funny is because, granted, this was 1987. But pretend we don't know. Whatever it was filmed, when it was filmed, 86, 85, who cares? The point was, the movie was set in 2017.
Yes.
And I found it funny because it's all futuristic. Now, if you remember, I can't speak for you because you were 6 in 87 and I was 16, right? Roughly. But in the 80s, we were thinking in 2020... cars were going to fly.
Yeah, of course.
We literally thought this, I believe. And, now that we're in 2023...
Back to the Future 2 came out in 1989.
Exactly.
It takes place in 2015.
Yes.
And there was flying cars and everything.
So I love that this was done in the 87, but set in 2017. So if you're watching this in 87, you're like, wow, this is what shit's going to look like.
Right.
It looks nothing like that.
No.
None of it does. No. Which is fascinating to me still.
I'd say it's more accurate than Back to the Future 2 in that regard.
Where are flying cars?
Well, there's no flying cars in Cherry 2000.
No, I know that. That's not the point.
Oh,
we were told that. We were told that. Like, it was going to be like the Jetsons the time we got to 2020, and yet here we are.
It's 2023, and people don't even want to get rid of gas.
Yeah.
So blame it on your peers why we don't have flying cars.
Well,
also,
we have electric cars.
Let's face facts.
Whatever.
With as much car accidents that are on the road every single day, the last thing anybody needs is to be able to fly.
This is true. Don't get me started on people that drive Teslas, because we'll be here all night, because another one almost sideswiped me yesterday.
Well, we live in a very Tesla heavy.
Oh my God! It's like, if that's what. Why don't you talk about that in the 80s and moving forward? It's like, let's talk about all the Teslas and the...
Well, because in the 80s, we didn't want to have cars that drove us. Yeah. We wanted to be able to fly them.
Yeah.
Like
the Jetsons.
We went from being an optimistic, future-thinking society to one that's just lazy and wants everything taken care of.
Do you know we would have flying cars today if one thing would have happened? Just one thing. If
Marty didn't go back and screw everything up?
If MTV kept playing music. If MTV would have kept playing music videos, we would have flying cars today.
We'd be a perfect society.
We'd be a perfect society. I felt confident in that.
There is something to say about that, for sure.
I'm saying. I was also fascinated, because, I think of stupid shit during movies, like the water bottles in Constantine.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. How does she still... Her eyeliner is still on the entire movie.
It's movie magic.
No, and she went in the water, when they went down, and that was cool with the Hoover Dam scene, too. But,
yeah.
And I know that was filmed partially or primarily there during those scenes. But she still had her eyeliner on, and clearly it wasn't a wig. They just colored her red hair to Melanie's hair in this.
Yeah.
But she looked good. I thought she looked good. I liked her and Sam together. And, I'm glad... All I'm saying is I'm glad they flew off into the sunset together. I'm just saying I wish they would have, stopped and, the mule's not going to fit on the plane. But they could have just
they couldn't even carry the cherry robot on the plane. They sure as hell can't take.
They could have landed somewhere and come back and gotten the mule and rode him and then taken him somewhere on foot together.
Well, maybe they did. Think about it.
I'd like to think that.
I think that they would have flown back to the last stop, Gas and Brothel. Okay. Because they might need to fuel up. Okay. And
is the car there still?
The car is still there.
The car is still there.
They might need to kill Petey or whoever is still there. Although
that old guy.
The old guy wasn't the problem. It was the girl. Yeah. That did everything. But
clearly the mule wasn't. There was only two things left at that brothel. That old guy. Yeah. And the mule. Right. And at the end we saw the mule grazing. Yeah. So
they flew over it.
So I like that. I like to think that they went back, they landed, because they can't be in that plane forever, babe.
No, you can't.
They got to get a car. They got to get a vehicle. You know who knows this is Steve Desjardins, and he knows what happened probably afterwards. He doesn't know, but
he's probably got ideas for sequels. This was on the remake block at one point in time.
2001.
This movie was going to get remade at one point.
Interesting.
And the actress...
A sequel or remake?
Remake. Proper remake. And the actress that they wanted to play as Jonathan was Dakota Fanning.
As Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Meaning Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith's character. So it would be her actual daughter.
Dakota?
Yeah. I never really liked that idea.
No, I'm not down with that.
I also don't feel like this needs to be remade. No. Because I think that what makes this movie fun is that it's an 80s movie version of the future that we never really properly got.
And you did ride off into the sunset. Well, I'd like a sequel to know what happened to the mule. That would be good to know. I know you're smiling at me. You just, whatever. Okay. I'm going to stick with your ending. Not because I want to know what happens to the mule.
I want to know what happens to the cat in the water bottle.
I know, I do too, kind of. Because that cat, I'm like, that can't be comfortable with that cat in the water bottle. But I mean, think about it. You're right. That plane, they had to dump somebody because there was too much weight in it. Okay. I know they can't fly that plane forever. I mean, at some point it needs gas.
Yeah, of course.
It's got to stop.
I think she wants her car back. She's going back to the brothel.
Wouldn't you?
She's going to go back to the... Yeah,
so she's going to go back to the brothel, but now the mule's not at the brothel because he's grazing in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but he's probably around
he's probably around it.
They flew over him on the way back.
Oh, so maybe it is supposed to be a happy ending for the mule.
Look, if it wasn't a happy ending for the mule, you wouldn't show the mule.
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought of it like that.
I mean, everything that's on a screen is there for a reason.
Yeah. So she's going to get her car, and then, I'm just saying Jake was her, confidant.
Foster father, basically.
Exactly. That's actually what I meant to say, foster father, in a sense. So she's not just going to... One mule already died, so she's got to take care of the other one. So,
but the question is, really... Where does Sam and E end up?
Where are they gonna go? Back to her place in the where he found her.
But do you think he wants to live out in the sticks and she wants to live in Anaheim? I mean, it's
that's interesting.
Yeah,
too.
You have to.
Yeah. Where would they live with a mule? That's what you need to know.
You need to find a happy medium.
Like a farm somewhere.
Yeah, or a town that's outside of the city so that he can still do his job. Because clearly he's well off, right?
What does he do?
He's never...
he works
He works in that industry separating...
But maybe he doesn't want to do that anymore because he found love and a mule and now he doesn't need to do that anymore. And he doesn't need a robot because he kicked fucking Cherry 2000, number 2, to the curb, literally, to be with a real woman, so maybe he doesn't need a real job.
I wish that were the case in real life.
I know, right? I don't know. It's crazy.
I mean, obviously,
you got me thinking about
he's got money. because he was able to do. He said he was able to pay for everything, and he was never concerned about it. You know, he said that himself. I don't need a refund. I'm not concerned about that.
Yeah, but it's. Oh, yeah. No, he said it was never about the money.
And obviously, he was living pretty well. His apartment was pretty dope. Or his house was really awesome.
For sure. You know, I think it's just one of those movies, like if there's not going to be a sequel, forget the remake,
sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like we've said about Constantine, where it ends with him on the roof. And,
yeah.
Okay. And then a Constantine 2 happens. Okay. Like, that's just an example. But it's one of those open-ended movies. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, it's
you know
not
I mean?
really open-ended in that you're hanging off
I'm sorry,
a
not
cliff,
open-ended. I meant
wanting a
it's like Dredd.
closure.
No,
right.
it's like Dredd. It has an ending. The ending is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like many.
But
movies.
there's room for future adventures, right? But I don't know. I think that Sam's journey is essentially done now. The whole thing was him becoming a friggin' man. And
then he turns around, by the way, totally hazard driving of that plane, because he turns around to kiss her while he's flying the plane. And there's no autopilot. He turns around to kiss her, and it's like, you weren't paying attention the first time when that car went into the... You know what I mean?
That's also goes back to him not knowing how to react with a real woman.
Yes.
She's not even like anywhere near him really. She falls asleep.
Yeah.
Her head is like on his right thigh and not even like all
not
over him, just like barely, like maybe some hair.
But he drives into the cement
in broad daylight.
I know.
He drives into the. It's not cement. It's like just where the road turns.
Yeah. But I'm saying that he kisses her in the plane.
Yeah.
And he turns, and I'm like, hello, are we paying attention?
But he's an experienced pilot. He says that when she is working on the plane, like getting it fixed up, he said, you're never going to be able to fix this.
Oh, because he knew that.
I flew one of these in the border wars.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And so I say,
guess who fixed it, though? She did.
Yeah, because she can do anything. She's the MacGyver. Q-tip, paperclip, and a stick of gum.
Give her a paperclip, and she's going to build a boat.
Exactly.
She's MacGyver. I get it.
And an old Dorito.
Huh?
And an old Dorito. And
it
can sail away.
Like a sail. Yeah. That's a sail, yeah. No, I get it. I didn't mean open-ended. I use that term loosely. I mean, look, they fly off into the sunset, and she loves that car, so you know she's gonna go back and get her car. And then where are they gonna go? That's a great question. Are they gonna go back to where she lived? Are they gonna go back to Anaheim, back to his house? Maybe. Not the point. I guess we're not supposed to think about that. They're in love.
Yeah.
And maybe they're gonna adopt a mule. We don't know. I'd like to know, but
maybe. I think they're gonna live happily ever after.
But that's the point.
And I hope they do, because I don't want to live in a world where those two don't get together.
Yeah, that sounds like a very big movie credit ending. I don't want to live in a world where E and Sam aren't together.
E and Sam aren't together.
And by the way,
with their perfect hair,
when we paused just for a few minutes, and it was driving me nuts who he was. Okay,
who was
Sam?
Oh,
and so I looked him up.
David Andrews.
Yeah, he's been Sam Treadwell, right? Was his character's name, and I looked him up, and I'm like, I had no clue, but he is good looking. He is, I believed he was genuine. He wasn't like I believed their chemistry. I believed him, like you know what I mean. Like he wasn't like cheesy to me. Yeah. Really, I liked all the characters in this for the most part. And Gidley was, hilarious as the robot. But I just didn't recognize him. I did say to you at one point, he kind of looked like a broke-ass Kevin Costner to me.
A little bit.
Like a younger, in a weird way. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
Good. I just want to also talk about the music, because I think the score of this movie is perfect. And it is Basil Polidorus. He's the same composer who did do RoboCop, ironically enough.
Okay, you had said that earlier.
And I actually think in some of the action sequences, you can hear shades of what he goes to do in RoboCop. later on. Like, I almost think that he made this movie, right? Or he recorded his songs for this movie. And then since this movie never got released, he kind of repurposed some of it. Because some of it, like when they're hanging over the dam, right? And you have this like, dun, 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 dun. And then that's what RoboCop is. Like the RoboCop theme, every time you see him, it's like da 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 da. It's such an interesting, like it's almost like no one's ever gonna hear the music that I wrote for this movie.
Did he do? Was it the same for Miracle Mile, or I don't know? Maybe
no, Tangerine Dream did the score for Miracle Mile.
I knew that. Yeah. My bad. I just didn't know if Steve would use the same.
Yeah, I don't know that. I'd have to deep dive into the credits of Miracle Mile, but I don't know that anybody, at least none of the majors in Miracle Mile, were with Cherry 2000.
I just thought it was funny when we were talking about.
He also isn't like a Tim Burton or somebody that would have that level of Hollywood pull to.
I thought it was funny as an example. Mm-hmm. John Williams.
Yeah.
That did Presumed Innocent.
Yeah.
And you were like name dropping like all the movies that he did.
Yeah, he's.
No, but I just thought it was interesting. He did Indiana Jones as well. Harrison Ford. I just thought that was interesting. It's like, John, you've worked with Harrison before, clearly.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I brought it up. You know what I mean? But you're right. It just, I don't know. I guess you don't have to be like a...
Well, John Williams also just came up at the same time as those guys. I mean, Lucas had just come out the gate with Star Wars, really. Right. I mean, he did a couple movies before that, but...
Whereas Carpenter had been around since like the 70s.
Well, Carpenter did his own music, though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true.
So, for the most part.
Yeah.
So I just think it's like was the guy at the time, so he did Star Wars, and Star Wars was so huge that the collective group of directors that were coming up at the same time, like Steven Spielberg, would want him to do their movies as well.
Get it. It's just funny he did Presumed Innocent.
I mean that's kind of an outlier in his catalog.
The score was epic.
It was a really good score.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't use epic. Not epic as in terms of Star Wars, but epic for the movie of Presumed Innocent.
That was. I mean, not to make this the Presumed Innocent podcast because it's a Cherry podcast.
No. But we're talking music.
But so I mean, it's that was definitely outside of John Williams' wheelhouse.
Yeah. But I did
Basil Palladores also, by the way, is not with us, so R.I.P.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I did like the music in this, and it was funny when they were at Hoover Dam, and I wasn't even focused on that. I was focusing on the hanging car, them getting funneled down the thing with all the water. That's all I was focusing on was that scene, and you're like, by the way, that's Hoover Dam in the background, and I was like, okay, thanks. I actually did not even.
I think most of this movie was filmed in Nevada.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what I mean? I didn't even put that into play.
There's a scene that I saw a video on YouTube a couple years ago of somebody that actually tried to find these sets or these not sets but locations where they shot some of these out in the desert, and they found the quarry. Yeah, where he's standing over that big like ravine / quarry, and then Johnson throws the tire at him and knocks him down that level.
Oh yeah.
So on the other side of that quarry, that's where they first see Lester's men, and they take that ice truck.
Yeah.
And they drive it off of the cliff.
Yes.
So this YouTuber, who went out scouting this location,
it was Nevada,
found that ravine, found that quarry, and the remains of that ice truck are exactly where it fell.
Nice.
And collapsed. Like no one's ever bothered to clean it up.
We should go do that as a little trip.
I would love to. And there's a weird structure. It's where they pull in, and Melanie Griffith tells Sam to watch over her. She's gonna go to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's like these, two like concrete burnt out, cylindrical kind of structures. And that's where he's sitting on the side, and the snakes are in the pipe and everything. They found that. What's left of it today still principally looks the same, but the entire thing is covered with graffiti.
Really?
But, artistically styled graffiti. And it looks just absolutely cool, and I'd love to, travel down there.
It says Goldfield, Overton, and Rhyolite, Nevada. Some scenes were filmed at the Death Valley National Park in California. Adobe Flats was filmed at El Dorado Valley Dry Lake Bed. The Town of Glory Hole was filmed in Goldfield, Nevada. That would just be kind of cool to visit, I think. And then if you look on the Google.
On the Google.
It actually tells you, the Goldfield Hotel and the address.
Oh, okay.
And Death Valley National Park, and just, Rhyolite, which is probably in the middle of nowhere. And then, of course, Hoover Dam, which we all know where that is.
Well, and that's a very distinctive look. Looking dam, so.
Yeah, no, but I just wasn't even thinking that. When you're like, by the way, Kristy, that's Hoover Dam in the background. I should know that. And I was just like, oh.
Well, you and I, in particular, as Arizonans, we've all taken that drive to Vegas many, many times from here. Yes. And until they built that bridge, 10 years ago, you had to drive through Hoover Dam to get to Vegas.
No, that's right.
So you saw all those electrical power lines that are on their sides or aiming diagonal.
If you've ever done the tour.
Yeah.
And I did the tour finally. Never had wanted to, and then I did it. And it was like, ugh. It's almost very claustrophobic.
I never did the tour.
Yeah, I did. And I wouldn't say don't recommend it, but I was also doing the tour on the way home from Vegas with an ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
I was
you just want to get home. You just want to get home.
I was hungover, and my boyfriend at the time said, "Let's do the tour," and I was like, "Fuck, okay." So we did it, and I was like,
"That's why he's not your
That's
boyfriend anymore. He's coming up with dumb ideas like that. It's like, no. When you leave Vegas,
you go home.
This goes for anybody.
Straight home.
You go straight home. It doesn't matter if you're driving,
nope,
flying, anything.
Thank you.
Make Vegas your last stop before home.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Right.
Go fucking home. And honestly, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I should have said nope. And I was like,
Cherry 2000 is my favorite version of Vegas. One where it's completely buried in sand.
Yeah, exactly. I know. And we've had this discussion because you don't like Vegas, and I've done it too many times.
Vegas is a great town. You have zero need to be there for more than 48 hours.
Exactly. I totally agree. So I will say, because we always discuss, I believe I didn't even look. I'm guessing your letterbox review is a 5 stars on this.
5 stars.
Okay.
It's not going to change.
No, it's not. Yeah,
for the 71st time.
No,
I watched this movie.
I'm not sure what I'm giving this yet. I'm definitely a 4. I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely a 4. I just, as you know, I like time to let it marinate.
Well, like I've told everybody, I don't expect anybody to love this movie like I love this movie. I just want everybody to see it.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's for sure fun.
And there is no movie in the world that's like it.
No. And you know what? I guess I could get 3.5 stars because I don't know what's going on with the fucking mule. But I mean, I honestly right now, I guess I'd give it a 4.
Yeah, feeling generous.
Yeah, I don't know. But like, check in with me tomorrow because I haven't done my letterbox review yet. So we'll see. But I guess what I'm saying is if we're going to Siskel and Ebert this shit, thumbs up or thumbs down. Isn't that what they used to do?
Yeah.
I mean, they used to give it stars.
Jesus
but I
Christ, you're not dead yet.
Oh, God.
They did not give it stars.
Were they thumbs up
Well,
or
okay,
thumbs?
hold on. The newspaper reviews that they would write independently, they gave stars to. But the show, Siskel and Ebert, they gave thumbs up and thumbs down.
Yeah, which is fascinating if you think about it. Let's really quick.
It was trademarked.
No, I know.
Nobody else could do it.
I get that. But thumbs up or thumbs down, that's tricky. If you're going to do a star rating, I get it. Because you could just be vacillating between like this and that. But thumbs up or thumbs down, that's pretty that's direct.
Woman, you sit here and tell me that you want to give movies like a 3.25 and not a 3.3.5.
Somebody needs to invent that kind of scale.
I think a thumbs up or down is actually pretty I liked it or I didn't.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's pretty binary. I mean, it's simple.
I guess. Okay, anyway. I don't know where I'm at on this. I think I'm at a 4, but I'll see.
But you're at a thumbs up no matter what.
But I'm at a thumbs up no matter what. That's the whole point I was trying to make. Yes. So, we should probably...
If you rated this 2.9 or less, you're wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's what's fascinating. Like, at 2.9 overall on Letterboxd, and I'm like... Because of that, I don't want to not give it a 4. I'm just vacillating between 3.5 and a 4. But if we're going to go Siskel and Ebert style, I'm still a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying?
Did I tell you, by the way, that unrelated to Cherry 2000, but back to Miracle Mile, Anthony Edwards and Mare Winningham are a couple
married?
Now? Again?
Yes, yeah. I knew this.
Okay.
We talked about this actually some time ago.
Okay.
No.
They met again.
I know.
Doing the features for the Blu-ray, and they're like,
this.
"Yeah, we're gonna make it work."
No, and why I love it is because the ending of Miracle Mile, they were to be no more, and yet
always together.
Always together. I love it.
Diamonds.
No, I know it.
They turn into diamonds,
if you will. I love it. I absolutely. That's what I think is so cool about it. So.
I mean, the pilot didn't get so lucky.
No.
He was just...
We are going to...
Wrap it up.
And I guess we gotta introduce...
Put a bow on it. Kristy, I made you watch Cherry 2000. Somehow, I gave you the longest birth of time to watch Cherry 2000.
Yes.
Than everybody else that I've ever talked to for more than 20 minutes.
Yes.
What say you about what I have to watch
well, this one's gonna
next time?
I'm going outside my wheelhouse here. I debated this because it's something... I'm branching out. I'm doing something a little bit different. I normally would pick an 80s movie or an obscure 90s movie or just something. But my mind was going nuts about picking this, and I just said, fuck it, I'm going to pick it because it's something outside of my wheelhouse. It is 2020. It is not like a big theatrical release. I believe it came out on Netflix. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I literally did a little hotel stay, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
A little getaway, staycation for myself. Shit, I don't even remember when that was. But it was, I just went and did it. You stayed home with the dogs, and it was a beautiful little staycation by myself for a couple of days. And I think it came on like... cable or something. I had nothing else to watch, so I sat in my room with some room service and watched several movies I had never seen before, of which I told you about a few of them, right?
Yes.
You got a couple of them for me on Apple TV. So this was one of them. It came on both nights I was there, and I watched it twice, and I just really liked it. And if it's a chick flick, I might lose some of you listeners. Sorry. It's called The Broken Hearts Gallery. I know my one friend Lynn has seen it and likes it. And I don't know if any of you have ever even heard about it. But you can rent it on Amazon or Apple. And Shawn is looking at me because he has no idea what this is.
No, I mean, I know that it's a romantic comedy that came out.
Yeah, it is a rom-com. I want to say it came out on Netflix, but I'm not sure. It was just like obscure to find it.
I actually think I might have seen a trailer for it at some point.
And you might have, but again, 2020. This was during COVID.
Yeah.
When it came out, this is why I do feel kind of like unseen. Maybe.
I wonder if it was one of those movies that was supposed to come out theatrically and then didn't and went direct to video because of COVID and there was no theaters open.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, if whatever, if we're gonna believe that shit. 3.4 on Letterboxd. I only have 2 friends that have seen it, and What's funny to me is, before announcing it tonight, I had to look it up because it's been a while since I've seen it. I'm just going to leave this here, and I want you to see if you see it. The same dude in this reminds me of a broke-ass Chad Lowe. And yes, okay. I mean Rob Lowe's brother.
Yeah.
A broke-ass Chad Lowe. He's very attractive. Not why I love it, but he's just attractive. And then I realized he was Billy on Stranger Things. Yeah.
Is Billy the one that works in the ice cream shop?
I'm trying to remember, because you and I are behind on Stranger Things.
Billy's the older brother, right?
Well, first of all, we should remember him, because remember every time...
I guess I'm going to be editing.
He with his 80s hair, remember every time we watched him?
Oh, no, Billy's the one
with the car. He's the asshole, right?
He's the asshole. He dies in the season that we watched.
And remember, every time I saw him, I was like, God, he reminds me of a broke-ass Chad Lowe.
Yeah. He has a redemption arc, but that's when he dies.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And he's got the badass car, but he's like the... Anyway, okay, he looks totally different in Stranger Things than, obviously, this movie we're going to watch.
He works at the pool.
Like the pool hall or whatever?
Not pool hall. That would be a billiards
what
place.
Did you say? At the pool?
No, at the pool.
At the pool.
Yeah,
that's
he's
right,
like a lifeguard at the pool or something.
Yeah, but anyway, he was totally different in this.
A little cleaner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Like shorn hair and just like not the
way that he looked.
Yeah. Anyway, The Broken Hearts Gallery from 2020, rented on Amazon or Apple. I did look online tonight, and I could, buy it. I could buy the Blu-ray, for like $14 or whatever, and I might still do so. But I mean, for the case of this experiment and our next podcast, we're probably just going to rent it.
And Cherry 2000, if I remember correctly, was on Tubi.
Yeah, I think that's what you said.
And that was it, and that has ads. But
is that the only place?
Well, no, it's the only place you could stream it. You could rent it from Apple or any place else that has a digital storefront.
Okay.
Or you could buy it digitally, or it's available on Blu-ray.
Right.
I think a 4K is coming out later this year. So I mean, it's out there, but you have to pay for it if you don't want to see it with ads.
And I'm not going to give too much of the premise of the next. The Broken Hearts Gallery. I was going to give you a little bit of premise, but you said you may have seen the trailer. I do find it fascinating. It was 2020, so I think this was COVID. Like you said, I think it got like a stop on it, like kind of like Always Be My Maybe. Remember?
Well, no, that one was always going to Netflix.
That was always going to
Netflix made that movie, but I'm thinking about stuff like Greyhound, but with Tom Hanks. That I actually saw a sneak preview of that in theaters, or The Tomorrow War, which was a Chris Pratt movie that was supposed to be a big summer blockbuster.
That's right.
And Amazon ended up picking it up for streaming because there was no theaters to show it in.
It just spoke to me. It is a romantic comedy. Let's just throw that out there. Let's just be different. And I picked a 2020, a newer something, but it spoke to me. I love the chick in it. She reminds me of... But I will say I am subjecting you a bit to a chick flick.
That's fine.
But, but sometimes I've said that, and then you're like, you're a dude, and you're like, yeah, I kind of dug it. You know what I mean?
There's plenty of great chick flicks out there.
Yeah, I've shown you stuff before, and, you embrace it with your manhood as... That didn't sound right, did it? With your man... You know what I mean?
I do.
Okay, that sounded gross. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to end on a gross level, but gross note. Anywho, the Broken Hearts Gallery. Look it up. It's gonna be fun, and we might be doing it tomorrow because we got a long weekend. So get ready for it.
Sounds great.
Thanks for being with us, everybody. Back to back so far this weekend. Back-to-back podcasts.
Back-to-back podcasts. Maybe another one. Who knows?
Who knows tomorrow? You know what? The world is ours.
The world is yours. That's Scarface.
Oh, it's Scarface. Yeah. That's what I meant. It's yours. Or it's ours.
It's ours in this case.
Anyway. Be well.
Watch Cherry 2000.
Watch Cherry 2000.
Love Cherry 2000.
I did enjoy it. It was a good evening, and it was a good show. So I recommend it, and the mule is safe. So, cheers. We'll see you next time.
Have a good night.
On the flip side.